What if everything you've been told about being a man is wrong? No, seriously, because right now, society's idea of masculinity is either a protein shake chugging alpha yelling in a mic, or a spineless pushover apologizing for having testosterone. And guess what? Both are fake, both are weak, and neither will make you powerful. Welcome to the masculine theory, where we throw out the noise, destroy the lies, and get back to what true masculinity really is. Let's get into it. First off, masculinity isn't a costume. You don't become masculine by growing a beard, yelling grind set quotes, or slapping on a $500 watch. And no, it's not about body count, bench press numbers, or how stoic you can act when your life's falling apart. Masculinity is not a performance. It's not something you wear, it's something you become. Not through image, but through integrity. A man isn't defined by his appearance. He's defined by his principles, by his direction, by how much responsibility he takes when no one's watching. Modernity says, look like a man. True masculinity says, be one. Here's the problem. We confused masculinity with dominance. The loudest voice in the room isn't always the strongest man. The guy who punches walls and flexes his ego? Insecure. That's not masculine. That's emotional immaturity in a tank top. Real masculinity isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. If your masculinity depends on controlling others, you're not a man. You're a dictator with daddy issues. True masculinity is calm under pressure, stable in chaos, and unfazed by noise. You don't need to dominate anyone when you own yourself. Let's talk about emotions. Yes, you heard me right. There's a myth that real men don't feel, that masculinity means emotional repression, poker faces, and swallowing your pain with a protein bar. But here's the truth. Weak men are ruled by emotion. Strong men are led by truth. You think masculinity is hiding your emotions? Nah. True masculinity is having the courage to feel deeply and the strength to act wisely anyway. A man isn't numb. He's anchored. He feels the fear and does it anyway. He feels the grief and still shows up. He feels the rage and channels it into creation, not destruction. That's not weakness. That's emotional leadership, and it's rare, which makes it powerful. All right, now let's drag out the other myth, that masculinity is toxic. Modern society loves to label masculine energy as dangerous, and guess what? It is, but it's not evil. It's sacred. Masculinity is the same energy that defends homes, lifts cities, and sacrifices for family. The same energy that runs into burning buildings and stands in the gap when things go dark. It's dangerous because it has to be. Because a world without dangerous men is a world without defenders. The problem isn't masculinity, it's the lack of guidance around it. A sword in the hands of a fool is deadly, but in the hands of a warrior, it protects empires. So don't fear your strength, learn to train it. Now here's where it gets deep. True masculinity requires purpose. You cannot be masculine and directionless. A man without a mission is a weapon with no target. He either self-destructs or gets used by someone else. You want to feel masculine? Find something worth dying for, then live for it. True masculine energy moves. It builds. It leads. It doesn't wait to be told what to do. It asks what needs to be done and does it. When you lock into a purpose bigger than yourself, your masculinity awakens, because now your strength has direction, your silence has depth, your presence has meaning, and people feel that. Now let's address the elephant in the room. False masculinity is everywhere. You've seen it. The overcompensating, the fake bravado, the alpha nonsense with zero accountability. It's loud, it's flashy, and it's empty. Because false masculinity is always trying to prove something. True masculinity just moves differently. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't compete to be seen. It competes to be better. If you want to know who the real masculine man is in a room, it's not the one flexing, it's the one focused. Here's another truth bomb. Masculinity is forged in struggle. There is no shortcut. You don't journal your way into masculinity. You don't affirm it in the mirror and skip the work. Masculinity is earned in the fire, in rejection, in failure, in pain, in waking up at 5 a.m. when no one's clapping for you. The gym, the cold, the grind, the discipline. It's not about image. It's about building the inner man so strong that nothing external can shake him. You don't become masculine because you want to. You become masculine because you refuse to quit. And now we land here. Masculinity is sacred responsibility. At its core, masculinity is a vow to protect, to provide, to lead, to remain rooted when the world shakes. It's not about dominance. It's not about status. It's not about looking tough. It's about being the kind of man the world can count on. The kind of man your future family will thank you for becoming. The kind of man who speaks with clarity, moves with integrity, and leads with unshakable presence. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need less masculinity. It needs more men, brave enough to embrace it fully. The war within. Before you can lead others, you have to conquer something far more brutal: yourself. Because the real battlefield isn't out there. It's in your mind, your habits, your choices. Every man is fighting a war within, between the boy who seeks comfort and the man who chooses growth. And this war, it's not flashy. No medals, no crowds, just silent, relentless battles. Getting up when you don't feel like it. Choosing discipline over distraction. Choosing silence over reaction. Choosing to rise instead of rot. Most men run from this war. They hide behind pleasure, performance, ego. But here's the truth. You'll never feel masculine until you win that war. Not once, but daily. Masculinity is forged every time you say, "I won't let my lower self run this life." When you stop blaming the world and start building yourself. When you stop avoiding pain and start using it as fuel. When you stop wishing for ease and start preparing for impact. That's when the war begins to shift. Not because it gets easier, but because you get stronger. So ask yourself, who's really in charge? The boy who wants to be liked, or the man who's ready to be respected? Because until you face that war within, you'll never carry the weight you were born to hold. So what is the masculine theory? It's not just a philosophy. It's a movement. It's a remembering, a return to the kind of manhood that builds, protects, leads, and serves. It's not about yelling louder. It's about standing stronger. It's not about perfection. It's about ownership. And it starts with you. No one's going to crown you. There is no initiation ceremony, only the fire, and whether you step into it or keep scrolling. So if you're ready to stop performing and start becoming, if you're ready to reject the noise and reclaim the truth, then join the few, the focused, the forged. This is the masculine theory. Live it.